In the car on the way to the hospital, Nora remembered how, when Patrick was small, she would wake up suddenly, gripped by some terrible fear, that he had stopped breathing or spiked a deadly fever, that he had been taken from her. She had to see him to be sure. They lived then on the top floor of the 3-decker on Crescent Avenue. She would practically sleepwalk through the kitchen and past Bridget's door, and then down the hall to the boys' room, her nightgown skimming the cold hardwood, the muffled sound of Mr. Sheehan's radio murmuring up from downstairs. The fear returned the summer Patrick was 16, when they moved to the big house in Hull. Nora would awaken, heart pounding, thinking of him and of her sister, images past and present wound up in one another. She worried about the crowd he ran with, about his anger and his moods, about things he had done that could never be undone. She met her worries in the same old way. Whatever the hour, she would rise to her feet and climb the attic stairs to Patrick's bedroom so that she might lay eyes on him. This was a bargain she struck, a ritual to guarantee safety. Nothing truly bad could happen if she was expecting it. Over the years, there were times when one of her other 3 consumed her thoughts. As they got older, Nora knew them better. That was something no one ever told you, that you would have to get to know your own children. John wanted too much to please her. Bridget was a hopeless tomboy. They had carried these traits along with them into adulthood. When Brian, her baby, moved away, Nora worried. She worried ever more so when he moved back in. But it was Patrick who weighed most on her mind. He was 50 now. For the past several months, the old fear had returned. Ever since John kicked things up again, things she had long considered safely in the past. Unable to check on Patrick on those nights when the feeling arose, Nora would switch on the lamp and shuffle through her prayer cards until she came to Saint Monica, patron saint of mothers with difficult children. She slept with the card face up on Charlie's empty pillow. Tonight, for once, she hadn't been thinking of Patrick. Of all things, she was thinking about the boiler down cellar. It had been clanging since just after supper. Adjusting the temperature didn't help. Nora thought she might have to bleed the pipes. As a last resort, she tried saying a rosary to make it stop. When this seemed to do the trick, she went to bed with a fat grin on her face, thus assured of her own powers. She was awakened not long after by the ringing telephone. A stranger's voice saying there had been an accident. She should come right away. By the time she reached the emergency room, pink flannel pajamas under her winter coat, Patrick was already gone. The ambulance had taken him to the Carney. It took Nora 45 minutes to get from home to the old neighborhood. They were waiting for her by the door, a doctor and a nurse and a priest about her age. The presence of the priest made it clear. She thought of how they left Dorchester all those years ago for Patrick's sake. But as soon as he was old enough, he moved right back. This would be where his life had started, and where it came to an end. They took her to a windowless office. She wanted to tell them she wouldn't go in, but she followed right along and sat down. The doctor looked terribly young for such a job, but then a lot of people were starting to look terribly young to her. He wanted Nora to know that they had tried to revive her son for close to an hour. They had done all they could. He explained in calm detail that Patrick had been drinking, that he lost control of the car and slammed into a concrete wall beneath an overpass on Morrissey Boulevard. His chest struck the steering column. His lungs bled out.
"It could have been worse," the doctor said. "If he wasn't wearing a seatbelt, he would have been ejected from the car."
How could it be any worse than death? She wondered, and yet she clung to this detail. Patrick had worn his seatbelt. He wasn't trying to die.